Jenny spent the next 2 days questioning every single life choice that had led her here. Standing in front of a luxury boutique on Fifth Avenue, she adjusted the straps of her second-hand purse and glanced at the name on the glass door again, Leona's, private client fittings only. She took a deep breath. This wasn't her world. Inside were dresses worth more than her entire apartment. She almost turned around and walked away. Almost. But then she remembered the contract she'd signed. The number written on that check. The relief she'd felt knowing her rent, her loans, and even her mom's overdue hospital bills could finally be covered. Money like that didn't come without strings. And in this case, the string was pretending to be Mrs. Adam Grant for the next 7 days. Jenny squared her shoulders, pulled open the door, and stepped inside. A tall woman with sharp cheekbones and perfectly styled blonde hair greeted her with a polite but distant smile. "Miss Parker?" Yes," Jenny said, smoothing her frizzy hair. "That's me." "I'm Talia," the woman said, giving a nod. "Mr. Grant sent me your sizes." "Follow me, please." Jenny blinked. My sizes? How had Adam gotten her sizes? Before she could ask, Talia led her past rows of glittering gowns and tailored suits. They entered a private fitting room that looked bigger than Jenny's entire apartment. Talia clapped her hands, and suddenly 2 more women appeared from nowhere, carrying dress bags and shoeboxes. "We have a busy schedule," Talia said, flipping through a tablet. "We need outfits for the charity gala, a brunch with the Grant family, a photo shoot for a lifestyle magazine, and casual daywear for any paparazzi run-ins." Jenny's eyes widened. Wait, a photo shoot? Paparazzi? Brunch with his family? Adam didn't mention all that. Talia didn't blink. Welcome to being Mrs. Grant. That night, back in her apartment, she slipped into her bed, still wearing the temporary curls the salon had styled into her hair. Her phone rang. It was a text from Adam. "Adam, tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. sharp. My driver will pick you up. We need to rehearse our story." Jenny's stomach did a little flip. Our story. The whole thing still felt ridiculous. But she couldn't back out now. Not with the money already wired to her account. And not with Adam's entire company reputation hanging on this lie. At exactly 8:55 a.m. the next morning, a sleek black car pulled up outside her apartment building. Jenny climbed inside and found Adam already seated, reading something on his phone. As usual, he looked like he belonged in a magazine, clean-cut, expensive, and cool under pressure. They exchanged greetings. "Morning," she said, nervously smoothing her skirt. "Morning," he replied without looking up. The air inside the car felt heavy. "So, where are we going?" she asked. "My penthouse," Adam said, finally putting his phone down. "We need privacy." Her cheeks flushed. "Privacy for?" "To practice being married," he said simply. Jenny nearly choked on her own breath. "Relax," Adam said, giving her a small smile. "We're just going over the details. Dates, memories, little things couples know about each other. The press will ask questions. Investors will watch how we interact. Every word, every gesture, it all has to feel real." Jenny swallowed hard and nodded. The car ride was silent after that. When they reached his building, the doorman greeted Adam with a respectful nod and a "Good morning, Mr. Grant." Jenny trailed behind him through the marble lobby, feeling every eye on her. The elevator ride to the top floor felt endless. Her heart pounded faster with each floor. Finally, the doors opened to reveal Adam's penthouse. Jenny's jaw nearly dropped. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed off the New York skyline. Modern furniture, glass walls, a massive fireplace, it all screamed money. And yet, somehow, the place felt lonely. Too clean. Too quiet. Almost like no one really lived here. Wow, she breathed. This is beautiful. Adam gave a small shrug, tossing his suit jacket onto the back of a chair. It's just a place to sleep. Jenny frowned. Just a place to sleep. If this were her home, she'd never leave. Adam motioned for her to sit at the kitchen counter. I made a list, he said, handing her a folder. Inside were pages of information. How they met. A charity auction 2 years ago. Their first date, dinner at a rooftop restaurant. Favorite vacation memory, a weekend getaway in the Hamptons. Pet names, Jen and Babe. Jenny blinked. Babe? Seriously? Adam smirked. Too cheesy. Very. Then call me whatever feels natural, he said, flipping through the pages. Just make sure you remember the details. For the next 2 hours, they practiced. Adam quizzed her on their fake history. Jenny stumbled at first, mixing up dates and places. But slowly, she got the hang of it. They even ran through sample questions the media might ask. Adam, what was the moment you knew Jenny was the one? Adam leaned back in his chair, pausing for dramatic effect. The first time I saw her laugh, he said smoothly. She was wearing this ridiculous oversized sweater. We were at a bookstore. She laughed at something I said, and I just knew. Jenny stared at him. He said it so easily, so convincingly. For a second, she almost believed him. Her heart did a little skip before she reminded herself, it's all fake. Just words. Next, it was Jenny's turn. Jenny, Adam said, resting his chin on his hand, what's Adam's worst habit? She bit her lip, thinking fast. He leaves coffee cups everywhere, she said with a teasing smile. And he forgets to text back half the time. Adam chuckled. That's actually true. They laughed. For the first time since this whole madness began, things felt easy between them. Natural. Comfortable. When the practice session ended, Jenny stood to leave, gathering her things. Big day tomorrow, Adam said, walking her to the door. She nodded. The gala. The first night the world sees us as husband and wife, he said with a small grin. Her stomach twisted with nerves. But as she stepped into the elevator and the doors slid closed, she caught herself smiling. Just for a second. Maybe, this won't be so hard after all. The night of the gala arrived faster than Jenny expected. 1 minute she was memorizing their fake love story, and the next, she was standing in front of her bathroom mirror, staring at her reflection in disbelief. She barely recognized herself. Her hair, usually tied in a messy bun or left hanging limp around her face, now curled in soft waves that framed her features perfectly. Her makeup was flawless, like something from a magazine. Her eyes looked bigger, her cheekbones more defined, her lips fuller. And the dress. It was a deep emerald green that hugged her figure in all the right places. The neckline dipped just enough to make her blush. She turned sideways, smoothing the fabric over her hips, and took a shaky breath. This is really happening. Her phone buzzed. A simple text from Adam. Adam, the car's downstairs. Ready? Jenny grabbed her tiny clutch, slipped on the impossibly high heels Talia insisted she wear, and headed out the door. Downstairs, a sleek black limousine waited by the curb. The driver held the door open for her, and as she climbed in, she found Adam already seated inside. He wore a classic black tuxedo. His dark hair was slightly tousled, his jaw freshly shaved, and his steel blue eyes rested on her as she entered. For the first time since meeting him, Adam Grant looked stunned. His gaze moved slowly from her face to her dress and back again. Jenny's heart skipped. You look. He cleared his throat, adjusting his cufflinks. You look perfect. Her cheeks flushed. Thanks. You clean up pretty well yourself. Adam smiled faintly but said nothing more. The ride to the gala was quiet. Jenny fiddled with her bracelet, glancing at Adam every now and then. He stared out the window, his jaw tight, fingers tapping restlessly on his knee. He looked nervous. That surprised her. Adam Grant never looked nervous. But tonight, there was something different about him. The car pulled up in front of the Grant Grand Hotel, the centerpiece of Adam's empire. Dozens of photographers stood behind velvet ropes, their cameras already flashing as soon as the limo door opened. Adam stepped out first. Then he turned and extended a hand toward Jenny. Her pulse jumped. Taking his hand, she climbed out, trying not to wobble in her heels. The second she stood beside him, the crowd erupted. Adam! Jenny! Over here! Jenny, is it true you're expecting? Adam, how long have you two been married? The questions came fast and loud, mixed with bright camera flashes and the occasional scream from an overexcited fan. Jenny plastered on her best fake smile. Adam's arm slipped naturally around her waist, pulling her close. Just smile and wave, he whispered in her ear, his breath warm against her skin. Jenny did exactly that. Smile. Wave. Act like this was normal. Act like this was love. But the longer she stood beside him, the more she felt a strange, unfamiliar sensation building inside her. It wasn't nerves. It wasn't fear. It was something else. Something she didn't want to name. Inside the grand ballroom, the atmosphere was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the high ceiling, casting soft, golden light across the room. Waiters moved smoothly between tables carrying trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres. The guests, business moguls, celebrities, politicians, all mingled in designer suits and floor-length gowns. Jenny felt like she'd walked into a scene from a movie. Adam kept her close, guiding her from one conversation to the next. Introductions were made. Hands were shaken. Laughter sounded easy and light, though Jenny could tell most of it was fake. They posed for more pictures. Answered casual questions about their relationship. Adam's answers were always perfect. She's been my rock through everything, he told one investor. I knew she was the one the first time we met, he said to a journalist. Jenny played along, smiling, laughing at the right moments, squeezing his hand as if to say, yes, it's true. But deep down, her heart twisted with every lie. At one point, as she stood near the dessert table pretending to enjoy a bite of cheesecake, she overheard two women talking nearby. I give them 6 months, one of them whispered. More like 3, the other replied with a laugh. This whole marriage looks like a PR stunt. Jenny froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. Her stomach sank. They weren't wrong. It was a stunt. A carefully designed show for nights exactly like this. She glanced across the room and found Adam deep in conversation with his uncle, a tall, stern-looking man with silver hair and sharp eyes that seemed to judge everything and everyone. Jenny could feel his gaze drifting toward her, as if analyzing her every move. Her hands started to shake slightly. What if people found out? What if they exposed the lie? What would happen to Adam? To his company? To her? A few minutes later, Adam returned to her side, slipping his hand into hers. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly, his voice low enough for only her to hear. Jenny forced a smile. Of course. But he didn't look convinced. "Come with me," he said, gently leading her through the crowd and toward one of the side hallways. They stopped near a small alcove, just out of view from the main ballroom. "I know this is overwhelming," Adam said, looking down at her. Jenny laughed nervously. "That obvious, huh?" "Only to me," he said with a small smile. "You're doing great." Her heart flipped. "Thanks," she whispered. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. They just stood there, close, breathing in the quiet between them. Then Adam took a step closer. Before she could ask what he was doing, he reached out and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Her breath caught in her throat. And just like that, he kissed her. Soft. Slow. Nothing like the public show from earlier. This kiss. This one felt different. It was tender. Real. Jenny's heart raced as she melted into him, her hands resting lightly on his chest. The world faded away again. For a brief, beautiful second, it didn't feel like pretending. It felt right. When they pulled apart, Adam rested his forehead gently against hers. His voice was barely above a whisper. "Let's get back out there, Mrs. Grant." Jenny nodded, swallowing the lump rising in her throat. As they returned to the ballroom, hand in hand, Jenny knew something had changed between them. Maybe it was just the adrenaline. Maybe it was the pressure of the night. Or maybe, just maybe, it was something neither of them could control anymore.